Welcome to the KM Builders Remodeling and Design Show. I'm Keith Moehle along with Morgan.
Hello, everybody.
And we are glad to be with you this beautiful Saturday and hope you're enjoying yours. And we are going to talk about bathroom remodeling. And we try to keep a very positive show, but we're going to be negative for a few weeks, right, Morgan?
Yep.
You know what I mean by that, right?
No.
You just agreeing with me?
Yeah.
Well, that was nice. You don't usually do that, I guess, unless we're on air.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
But we're going to be negative because it kind of catches people's attention a little more, and they want to hear the bad things that could go wrong. Probably is even more fun than hearing the good things, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So we're going to talk about the biggest remodeling mistakes in bathrooms, and we'll follow that up next week with the most common design flaws in bathrooms, and then we're going to hit it after that with kitchens. So we thought we'd spend a little time with each of these subjects. We're going to be kind of focusing on the negative, but we promise you we'll tell you the right way to do it too, not just the wrong way. And pretty much whenever we discuss the wrong way, it tells you what not to do, so you do it the right way. And so we're going to talk about that, but we will be taking your calls live at 737-1200. That's 1-800-383-WOAI if you use long distance.
And we're also live on Facebook and Instagram, so you can message us your questions there.
That's right. And again, that local number is 737-1200. And I do want to go ahead and give out our website address for anyone who wants to see more about our topics or about our way of doing business. We do have a very specialized team of remodeling, 40-person staff of remodeling specialists that do everything from design to the finishing touches. And of course, we've got a lot of proof on that website too. If you'd like to see that, that website address is kmbuilders.com. Just think of Kick Me, KM, those are my initials, Keith Moehle, kmbuilders.com, or give us a call anytime at 680-KMCO for KM Company. And we are KM Builders, and we're glad to be with you this Saturday. And we are going to talk about, we like to start off every show with a warning, and it is about lame contractor.
Yes, and this one particular, my area, like I talked about last week, was hit by the hailstorms. And so in my neighborhood on Nextdoor, people said, there was a whole conversation about this company, Holden Roofing, and
Boy,
they said,
you found a lot of information about them.
Yeah, they said they knocked on the door just a few hours after the storm. And to me, from what I've heard with everything, that indicates a storm chaser.
Absolutely.
But that first one said they've already seen signs of their neighbors using this Holden Roofing company, and they looked them up, and they were... It said they were indicted on multiple counts for defrauding customers during roof replacements in the past, sued by the Texas Attorney General, and have multiple recent complaints with Better Business Bureau for similar actions.
When did you pull this information up?
Yesterday.
And it was like some of this stuff was 10 minutes old.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
So yeah, it was right after the storm. They're chasing it. They've got another storm chaser, Holden Roofing.
Yeah, beware.
Beware, yeah. So we just, they're trying to tell you that they're going to bring in, don't call the insurance, use us.
Yeah.
And because other places, they'll bring in adjusters and appraisers from other parts of the country that don't get hail. So there's a lot of ridiculous statements made by this company, and of course, a lot of dirty tactics in business, and we can do it for you. By the way, last week we did talk about roofing because KM Builders is a roofing company, and nobody has a perfect reputation, but we do have the perfect reputation of making everything right on our roofs. And sometimes it's painful because roofs can be a problem, but you really got to have someone who's standing behind you. And even if there's a problem incurred in roofing, which there can be a lot more problems than people think, that they really are there with you through the whole process, such as, okay, well, the roof's not really the thing that's leaking. Sometimes it's siding, sometimes it's flashings, sometimes it's other things like windows. But you want someone who can do the whole thing if you have a storm claim, And KM Builders is that company because we do the siding. We'll help you with the air conditioner that got damaged, the fence that got damaged, the fascia that got damaged, the painting that needs to be repainted, the bushes, the shrubs, and not even if you don't want to fix them all, you're going to get paid for them. So we can show you how to get the most out of your insurance claim as well, so that you don't leave anything on the table. And like we said last week, don't think that you shouldn't claim on it that somehow it'll save you on your premiums. That is not true at all. That is a myth. And so that was one of the myths we busted last week. And you can go listen to that podcast on where's the best place to go, you think?
The last week's show on iHeartRadio, you can listen to the podcast version, and that'll be probably the best sound quality and everything. But it's also on Facebook, and you can watch us.
That's right. So, yeah, so this week we're going to be talking about bathroom mistakes, and it's just something, it's the most common, probably the most common, right up there by kitchens on the types of projects that are done in the United States. People want to do a bathroom. It's a little less expensive than a kitchen, and everybody wants to get at least one of the bathrooms done and redone and make it look very presentable whenever their guests come over. So, and maybe they want to do their master bathroom. And so we're going to be talking about some of the common mistakes in bathroom remodeling, and it's because of things I see all the time. I'm in over 500 homes a year, and you can imagine how many I see that are done wrong. So the number one mistake that I see in bathroom remodeling is not waterproofing the shower correctly. And this is a sad but true statement that many contractors, homeowners, don't understand how it should be done. And guess what? Many contractors do not either. So I always often ask people, what do you think is the thing in the bathroom, in the shower, that keeps the water from getting into the walls? And what do you think they say?
I originally thought it was the tile.
The tile, right? That's what keeps the water from getting into the walls. But that, and then the grout would be the second answer. So people think that, and many contractors who have not been properly trained think that if you just put good tile on there and you do it right and you put good grout, that you're not going to have water coming in. But the problem is that it condensates on the backside. Moisture travels because of the difference in temperature. You can get condensation. And besides that, you wouldn't want to depend on that because you can get a hairline crack in tile. All showers are going to eventually get some type of hairline crack in the grout. And it is true that you will not be able to see most of it. Most of the time, you're not going to be able to see it. And so what is it then that they're overlooking? They're not waterproofing behind it. You put a layer behind right on the studs. You put a layer like a moisture block on the back side of the studs, and then you put a hardy board. Either that, or you replace both of those steps with a mud set concrete on top of wire mesh, and even that has a moisture barrier on the back of it also. So you want this hardy board, which does not deteriorate with moisture. And then what a lot of people are not doing is not sealing it properly. They're not sealing up all the joints, and they're not sealing up all the places where moisture can get between those hardy boards. And I'm not saying we've never had a leak, but we certainly know why these leaks occur and where the mistakes are now and how to avoid them and what to do in certain cases whenever you've got these kinds of problems. Most of the time, most of the problems that occur with showers leak, you have to tear the whole shower out. And I've had to tear out so many showers that were done wrong over the years that people wanted us to just repair it, but you can't. You have to tear it out. In almost every case, you have to tear it out. There's a few exceptions.
That's horrible.
Yeah. So your biggest mistake in bathroom remodeling has to do with how they waterproof or the lack of waterproofing on a shower. And this is a huge problem that can take years to be able to discover, and when you do, it's caused usually a lot more damage by the time you notice it. Because think about it, your shower's wet, so how are you going to know if it's getting wet in the wrong way?
Yeah.
what do you know, if your wall was leaking water in your bedroom, let's say, or you would see moisture on the wall, right? And you would say, hey, I got to get this fixed. But you're never going to see that on a shower.
So
because you're going to see moisture every time you take a shower.
By the time you realize it, it's probably
it's on the other side of the wall.
Ugh.
It's on the other side of the wall. So that means that moisture has had to travel from one side of the wall all the way to the other side, and it has had to fill up all the porous materials in between with water.
Like the insulation?
The insulation, the wood, the sheetrock has now gotten all the water it can handle. And by the way, it can handle a lot of water, and it can suck it up the walls, as you've seen, where moisture can be sucked up really, really high up into a wall and can go on for years doing that. And then finally it gets so bad that you see it on the other side of the wall.
Man.
And that is a real problem whenever it happens. So you don't want to do that. That is our number one bathroom remodeling mistake, and it's usually done. In fact, it's done more often than you think. It is one of the most common callbacks in the industry. So I want to go ahead and give a shout out to my friend Joe Caccino at BioGreen. And man, my yard is looking green, and it's not quite caught up there with Joel's and Gloria's, because he did some things that I didn't do over the last few years, and one of them was he had more sunlight hitting his grass, so he kind of cheated by having more sunlight than I did. But I'm not a competitive guy at all.
Yeah, right.
But my grass is starting to look really good, and I have a real opportunity now to show off my yard again. And already it's just been a few weeks, and it's really, really transforming. And what he did also, which I was really excited about, he did his last treatment, but then he came and he fixed all of my sprinklers.
What?
Which I didn't think I had a real sprinkler hole. I knew one was leaking a little bit, and he said there were over 7 heads that were leaking, and the spray nozzles were not working right either. They were clogged and so forth. So I'm going to tell everyone out there, if you need that done, he was on our show a couple of weeks ago, but you should really call him for the irrigation specialist, because I've had other people work on it and they didn't tell me that, but he actually did it that way. He actually found all those mistakes, and now is the season to get it done. You probably don't know that your system is not acting right, but I'd call BioGreen. BioGreen SA does the natural and organic fertilizers mixed with some synthetics, perfect blend. And then he's going to do the soil treatment on my house. He's going to treat it for the bugs, the chinch bugs and the grubs, so I won't have those taken away. But he's also doing that sprinkler repairs, and that was awesome. So his number is 421-9522. Look him up at biogreensa.com. We'll be right back to the KM Builders Remodeling and Design Show. Welcome back to the KM Builders Remodeling and Design Show. I'm Keith, along with Morgan.
Hello, everybody.
And we are talking about whatever you want to talk about, in addition to the most common remodeling mistakes in bathrooms. We thought you'd like to know. We thought you deserved to know, because it happens so often. And we mentioned one of them at the outset, which is waterproofing a shower, or the lack of proper waterproofing in a shower. And of course, this is on a podcast that you can listen to later on iTunes,
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio, and then later on we have others on iTunes and Spotify. We'll be doing these also later on those, but we're going to do it right now for you, and we're taking your calls live at 737-1200. We'd be glad to talk to you about any remodeling question or ideas you have, and we are the largest full-service remodeling company in San Antonio, with a staff of 40 to help you in every aspect, from design inception to the finishing touches. We can do it at KM Builders, and please check out our website at kmbuilders.com to find videos, plenty of professional photos of projects, and Morgan had to create a new section called Latest Projects, right? And that's just because people want to keep up with it, and it's a lot easier to do if you just go to that one. That way you know you haven't seen them. and they're in chronological order that way.
Yeah.
But
Those are good.
we're always posting 1 or 2 per week that we're finishing because we do so much of this work. If we do so much of it, you might think that we probably have learned how to do it the right way, and you're right. And so we want to tell you how it's done wrong. Improper waterproofing in the shower before the tile goes on is so important. And before we do that, Morgan, go ahead and you're telling me I'm missing something here. What are we missing for our
Yes.
next segment?
We have our client testimonial by Jason J. on Yelp, and he said, I had requested for a quote, and to my surprise, the owner of the company himself had come out to the house personally. Keith was very professional and actually had given us many new thoughts that we did not even consider. I have heard Keith's radio broadcast numerous times on WOAI, hence the reason for contracting them to help have our kitchen redone. I have called the office several times with many questions, and his staff is very knowledgeable and supportive.
That's nice. Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. And so that's what we do, and it points out something that maybe some of you don't know. If you call and you set up an appointment, I will come out and see you.
Yep.
And let's go ahead and take our first caller of the show. John, if you're there, we'd love to talk to you. I'm doing great. Yeah, how are you, John?
I'm talking on my Bluetooth while I'm driving.
Yeah, we're good. Go ahead.
Okay, waterproofing showers. If you're dealing with that new type of material that it looks like the tile wall, but it's all prefabricated wall. You just cut it and you glue it on to your shower wall around your tub. Would you also use the lumber board or the cement board, and in addition to the cement board, a black plastic that you for a vapor barrier? Would that be considered a good idea?
I think you'd be better off if you just went ahead and go ahead and put the hardy board behind it, the fiber cement board behind here. What you're talking about, John's talking about those panels that you put in and install, and those do do condensate behind them also, so that's why you want to get that waterproofer on there. The problem with plastic, with black plastic, it can condensate behind it. So it's really not, it's a good water barrier, but it's better to use something that doesn't condensate itself. And the moisture, the fiber cement board won't condensate behind it. It's gonna dissipate that temperature difference that you want, and it's not gonna have condensation behind it. So just, you can get the pink roll-on for all the joints. That's all you need on that one. When you're doing those panels, all you have to do is just waterproof those. Use that red guard or something of equivalency, and put that on the joints, and you'll be good to go. Those panels do work, and they're very durable, and it does save you a lot of money.
Okay, so you called it the red guard?
Yes, if you ask any specialist in it, like go to a tile store and tell them, do you have anything like Red Guard? They'll show you one of their products, and they're all really good, especially in your application. Is not going to be as critical, but it is very necessary.
Okay, and to adhere the panels onto the board or the dry Red Guard, would you recommend silicone?
Yeah, silicone is an excellent product. It remains flexible. It does not get brittle. And I have actually adhered some very large panels of cultured marble with silicone over the years. Now, you just want to make sure that you put some wood in there. Sometimes what you want to do is brace and push those panels. How thick are the panels you're using, John?
Well, I haven't even looked into. I stayed at a motel in California recently, and I saw the panels, and I thought, boy, this would be great for our bathroom. So that's what made me think about using it for mine. I haven't even gone out to price them or look at them.
Okay, let me give you a rule of thumb. If you can flex them with your, by squeezing them, bending them, if you can bend them, then just use silicone and push it up against the wall. Apply the silicone liberally throughout, and you need a weaving pattern that goes and covers and almost touches each other. You want a snake, basically lines of snakes of that silicone going all along the entire length of the panel. And then when you do, you just kind of squeegee it out. You start at the bottom or at the top, and you squeegee it out, and you kind of work itself down. Normally you start at the bottom because you've got a fixed point there, and you work it out kind of like if you were rolling it out and squeegeeing it out, and then it'll stick. But if you cannot flex those panels, then that means that they could have a bow in them, a slight bow in them, that you need to take out. So you have to have some pre-cut boards that you can wedge up against the other walls and against the opposing each other, so that you can make sure that silicone is touching. If it's not touching good enough, you're going to keep that bow in it, and it could possibly pull off the wall later, and then you'd have to start all over, and it would be a lot harder because you have to get it all off. So make sure that you're touching, that your surface is either flexible enough that the silicone will grab, or that you're getting some pressure on it from opposing sides.
Okay, sounds like great advice.
All right. Well, thank you for calling the show, and hope you have a great day.
Easter to you, sir.
Thanks. And like that, y'all can call 737-1200. We are going to take a break, but we would love to have your calls too, and we're going to get into the other common mistakes made in remodeling by remodeling contractors. But I just got to say, I did not make a mistake when I bought my Lexus at North Park Lexus at Dominion. That is really, really the best car we've ever bought. I mean, I like my Hellcat in different ways, but that Lexus RX 350 F Sport is incredible. And they have a lot of deals going on with it. Your car got hit with hail, and they're in the same area you are. And they got a lot of hail damage over there, but they're willing to fix all that. And you can do paintless dent repair on those, and they're still going to give you a discount even if they fix it.
Yep.
So that would be a super
Now's the time.
Yeah, contact my friend Al Cavazos over there, and he will work you a deal. And they're at 816-6000 or North Park Lexus at Dominion.com. And we got to say before we go to the news break,
go Spurs, go!
We'll be right back. Welcome to the KM Builders Remodeling and Design Show, the second half. And I'm Keith, and this is Morgan.
Hello, everybody.
And we are talking about the biggest mistakes in bathroom remodeling, and we've seen a lot. We've seen a lot of them, and we really, really want to help you avoid them. You can call us at 737-1200 if you'd like to talk to us about anything in remodeling, and we can probably help you too, just like John that called in earlier. And so if you'd like us to come out and save you a bunch of mistakes, you can call me, and have me come out there and look at it. Our number is 680-5626, and our website address is kmbuilders.com. You can also see a lot of projects there, a lot of videos, live videos, and so forth that we do. And you can also log on there to have an appointment made. And we're going to get into the second half of our show. And what's trending, Morgan?
Well, this one I thought was interesting because for so long it was all about the minimalist tile, all white kitchens and everything. But they're calling this quiet maximalism because it has all of the same qualities of maximalism, which is lots of texture, plenty of patterns, eclectic touches, tons of visual interest, but it isn't quite as bold. So if you Google it, it's really, really pretty, and just adding some pops of color, different colors, but blended together, but not so in your face. So you can incorporate that in your bathrooms or your kitchen with your tile choices and your paint colors and things like that. And
it doesn't miss anything. You're not leaving anything out, but it's not in your face.
Yeah.
Like the lady said at the airport. That was crazy, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah, we just got back. About the tickets. She said she couldn't print out all those boarding passes with TSA pre-check, and then when she printed them out, she said, "In your face."
Oh yeah, because you said she couldn't do it.
I said, "Nah, one of them's not gonna work." And all four of them worked. She gave us a hard time.
In your face.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And our local number here is 737-1200. If you'd like to talk to us about anything remodeling, that's the number to call, 737-1200. And one of the other mistakes, common mistakes in bathroom remodeling that I wanted to talk about was the wrong grout selection. Now, you know, a lot of people have dealt with this for so long. They hate grout now. They hate tile. And it's because they weren't given the choice of getting a grout that wouldn't stain, that wouldn't change color. So now we have grouts that are out there that can actually stay the same color. And this is true whether it's on your floor in your bathroom or whether it's on your walls in your bathroom or even the floor in your shower. The floor and the walls in your shower can stay the same color. And what's more is they don't have to get mold and mildew on them either. And, you know, ask yourself, why is it that there's so much mold and mildew on the grout? And the first thing you think of is what? Moisture's in there.
Yeah.
Moisture's in the bathroom all the time. Well, that's true, but why doesn't the tile have the mold on it?
Because it's not porous.
That's it. Your tile probably is not porous, but your grout is. So there's the problem of why it's collecting moisture and holding it. It's holding moisture. It's getting in there. It's going inside the pores, and so it can't get out all the time because it's deep in there. So mold builds up in there because it's a source of water for that mold to stay alive. So now we know the problem. It's porous grout. So how do we fix that? How can we can put something non-porous in there. Now, most people wouldn't know that their grout's porous or non-porous, but we can show you how, and we of course would recommend that. And the thing is that 25 years ago, you really didn't have many choices in it. You had to put typical grout in there, and it was sanded or unsanded, but both of those are porous because they are a concrete-based product. And nowadays, there's something better, and it's a non-concrete based product. You can put epoxy grouts, which are not concrete based, and they dry up really, really solid and hard. And then you also got acrylic grouts now, which are easier to use, easier to install, but they too do not absorb. Acrylic will not absorb the moisture like a concrete grout product will. So this is a really nice alternative. So we can actually offer you a solution to that scrubbing of the grout and the mold that so many people, and the bleaching of the grout like so many people have had to do. We can offer you a solution that will not change color. That grout will not change color. Go from maybe a light tone to a dark tone because it's gotten dirty and it's gotten stained. So two things mess with the color of grout: mold and just staining. Just staining it changes it.
Is the price any difference between the old kind of grout?
Yes, it is. I'm glad you asked. The price is probably about $100 more per shower.
Per shower?
Yeah, for the whole shower.
Oh, I thought you meant every time you take a shower.
No. No, just on the installation, it's $100 per shower.
Okay, that's not bad.
That's not bad at all, is it? Okay, we do have a caller. We'll take one before we go to our break. Let's have Henry. Henry, are you there? Is in? Okay, he went away, right? He went away. Henry, if you're there, we'll take your call when you call back. But yeah, so it's not $100 per shower every time you take a shower. It's just that one shower that you wanted. Now it would be a little more if you did a tub surround and a shower. You know, if you did 2 showers, you're looking at $200 to
but that's
drink.
a lot of headache savings.
Oh yeah, and the beauty. What's the beauty worth? Is it worth $100? You know, over the course of 25 years to not have your grout change color on you?
Definitely.
And like you said, the effort and the work that goes into trying to keep it clean. It really is clean. As you know, you clean your shower, it's got water on it, it's got soap in it. It shouldn't be a dirty place. You're cleaning it every time you take a shower. But it doesn't act that way because of that moisture, and that grout gets in there and changes color. We've got Henry back, I think. Henry's coming back. He's still on the phone. Maybe he just wanted some information, but we want to get Henry. We're good with Henry. Come on, Henry. Hey.
Yes, I have a question about windows. I just recently bought a house out in the country that has 4 bedrooms, but only has 1 entrance, no exits at the rear, anywhere else. I'm wondering, do they make a window that can function as an emergency exit in the event of a fire, because there's no real easy way to add additional doors.
Yes, Henry, the main thing that the codes require, if you're trying to do it per code, is you have to have a certain amount of square inches. Now, a 3-foot by 5-foot window will act as an egress window, even if it only opens halfway. If it's 5 foot high and 3 foot wide, and you can get around 2'6" wide by 4 feet wide and still meet, 4 feet tall and still meet egress. And so that's really what you probably need the most. It's just something that a human could crawl out. It's got to be low enough to the ground. There's requirements on that too. It can't be above 36 inches. And so you have to have it down that low. But if you want specialty windows that crank out and are easier to walk out, you don't have to crawl out of them as hard, you can get casement windows that crank out. That's a really good, comfortable solution. Again, we're just dealing with, the emergency. You do need to get out. But, windows do serve as an emergency exit, and they do not have to have an escape ladder or an escape route or even a roof or stairs or anything to meet codes, because they feel like in a fire you could be rescued. Now, does that help you any?
Yes, it does. Now, the only other thing I need is a phone number where I can get in touch with you guys to talk more about this, okay?
Well, that sounds like a fair deal, Henry. I'll give you that number. It's 680-5626, or if you're driving and you want to remember it, it's 680-KM-CO for KM Company. And by the way, if you want ladders that roll out or anything that can be used in emergency, we will make suggestions for that also. But thanks for calling the show, and I hope you get in touch with us. Again, if you have to remember it, it's 680-KM-CO.
And who do I ask for?
Well, you just tell them you want an appointment, and we'll send out our window specialist there. Scott will be helping you on that.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for calling the show. And just like that, you can call us. We are going to go ahead and take a break, and I wanted to mention my friends over at Billy's Western Wear, because that's where I buy all my Western wear, at South Main and 1490 South Main in Bernie, and the number there is 1-855-68-BILLY, or go to BillysWesternWear.com, and we'll be right back to the KM Builders Remodeling and Design Show.
Indiana Jones.
Welcome back to the KM Builders Remodeling and Design Show, and I'm playing my only loved David Bowie song, but it's a good one, isn't it?
Yes, but he has other good ones too.
Okay. That's a sensitive subject. Welcome to the KM Builders Remodeling and Design Show. We have time for probably one call at 737-1200, but we are talking about the biggest mistakes in remodeling, bathroom remodeling. Now, there's a lot of them, but we kind of hit the three big ones. The first one was improper waterproofing of the shower. It's just done so often, and unfortunately it takes years to recognize it as having not been done properly. And then you have the wrong grout selection, and then you have, now we're going to talk about the third one. Well, we said wrong grout selection. I need to be more specific, and that's because you use porous concrete grout instead of a latex or epoxy grout. And that can eliminate all that maintenance and the grout changing color on you. It can really be the last time you have to worry about it looking dirty or dingy or growing any mold either. So they're using porous grouts still in the industry. It's very common, but about $100 more when you have it done will get you that problem solved forever. And so the third one I wanted to mention is what I've seen very often, which is improper installation of tile floors on the second floor. Now, you may have had a tile floor installed on the second floor. Very often it's in a bathroom, and you may have had no problems with it. That means it was probably done right, or you have a really strong floor system. But sometimes, the floor system is not as strong, and the same techniques that were used on a really rigid part of the house. And by the way, a house flex is different in different areas. A bathroom is very often built over another bathroom, and that means that the floors don't have as much flex in them because they've got short spans. But sometimes a bathroom is over an area that's got a lot bigger area. It could be over a bedroom, or a living room. because the floor plan's different upstairs. And sometimes what happens is those rooms are long underneath and there's no walls under there, and they flex more. Those floors actually bounce. If you could measure them, you'd see that they bounce when people walk on them, much even more so if they jump on them, of course. But what happens is the floors flex, and whenever you don't install the subflooring correctly for the tile subflooring materials such as hardy board, you don't install it correctly, you're going to get a movement that is different than that of the tile, and the tile doesn't flex. So you do not get the tile staying on there forever. It starts to break itself loose. It starts to work itself loose from that floor system, and that's where you get tile popping and so forth. So that's a really big deal. We see it a lot. The tile is done, and particularly, like we said, in bathrooms. They're not installing it correctly. You've got moisture issues there also. So how do we solve this? Well, we have to put that hardy backer down and thin set it to the actual subfloor. That 1/4 inch hardy backer is supposed to be thin set by the Tile Institute. The tile industry standard is it must be thin set to the subfloor. That means that subfloor has to be cleaned up. It needs to be porous and bonding with a really good thin set material. And so just screwing it down and gluing it is not considered bonding to it. You need to actually float it in, and it also makes for a straighter floor. But what you're trying to do is to make that 3/4 OSB plywood or tongue and groove plywood, whatever you've got under there, either one of those, you want it to bond with the next layer, which is a 1/4 inch thick, and it's supposed to be that way. And that'll keep it from flexing and keep your tile from popping. I did want to mention my friends at Legacy. They are doing AC work for us on many jobs. So if you need it in this season, LegacyServicesAC.com. LegacyServicesAC.com is the ones to call. And we'll be back next week to the KM Builders Remodeling and Design Show. And we are glad you joined us this week. And we want you to look us up. Set an appointment. Have me come out and visit you at 680-5626 or kmbuilders.com. Look up the podcasts
and check out our blog. We have the last episode of the Halteman series comes out Friday.
And sign up for our newsletter at friends@kmbuilders.com. And have a great weekend. And remember, you could have someone else remodel your home, but then you'd have to live in it.